So we've got Simon Chan from Brill Power. So if I can ask you to join me, welcome to the stage.
Hi, good afternoon everyone, and I hope you're able to stay awake for at least the next 10 minutes of my talk after lunch and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, the title of my talk is Solving the Battery Cell-to-Cell Variations Conundrum for Energy Storage Systems. I wonder how many of you wake up at night thinking about the warranty statement on your battery energy storage system. This is really the punchline of the talk. I thought I'd give it to you first so you can think about it as I talk. Over the last few years, there's been a lot of talk in the industry and in academia about cell-to-cell variations and how they would impact on the overall performance of a battery energy storage system. One of the big pain points, or if you think about it, is actually one of the bigger pain points, is how do you determine the state of health of your energy storage system as well as the state of charge of the individual cells. I know there are lots of algorithms and lots of things that will give you the sort of numbers and statistics that you need, but the thing is, can you trust that? Can you trust that 8 years into the life of your battery energy storage system? That is the big pressure. That's the big question that I want to talk about today. Now, what's causing all this concern about cell-to-cell variations? Now, as you know, earlier in the year, or actually late last year, CATL announced that they had come up with a cell that can deliver 18,000 cycles of charge-discharge. That's a long time if you were to consider it to be a single charge per day, single discharge per day. However, the problem is, it's not the cells that's the problem. It's when you join them all together that you have a problem. If you look at the quote at the bottom left there, it says, for applications in the electric grid, ESS are expected to last a decade or even longer. Now, your cells may be able to do 18,000 cycles, but can your battery energy storage system do that? The bottom line really, sorry to pop the balloon, is that the cycle life and performance of an individual cell does not equate to the cycle life and performance of a battery energy storage system. Only a few days ago, I received this LinkedIn post sent to my LinkedIn. They must know I love batteries, right? I keep getting all this stuff about batteries. This lady, Rachel Zhang, whom I've actually chatted with online, she wrote, variations in individual cells can impact the battery pack performance, safety, and longevity. And she's absolutely right. We have all sorts of cells that are used in battery energy storage systems. Less so nowadays of the cylindrical variety, but if you were to look back in some of the systems that were deployed 6, 7, 8 years ago, they would have been using cylinder cells. Pouch cells still exist, and of course prismatic cells. Now the thing is, as we progress in this move towards electrification, we're seeing that energy storage cells are changing in shape, chemistry, capacity, and everything else. And if you look at the word differences there in the top right-hand corner of the page, I deliberately changed the font a little bit, just to show sometimes you can't spot differences at the beginning of a life of a cell. Now, I've been involved in the battery energy storage game for about 10 years now. I actually started my life as an electrical engineer about 40 years ago, and I've played in different spaces, smart cards, FTPOS systems, railway signaling systems, digital aerial photography, underground mining. 10 years ago, I had a midlife crisis. I said, what am I going to do in the remaining few years of my career? I had a choice either to go and to design and manufacture a medical electronics equipment for the aging population into which I was heading, right? Or to go into battery energy storage. I went to Las Vegas in 2015 to the Consumer Electronics Show to try and work out my dilemma of what I should do. So at that particular show, I met this young chap, about 27 years old at the time. He was the International Business Development Manager for a company which at that time was called Shandong Golden Cell. And he said to me, I want to learn English. And I said, I want to learn about batteries. we became the best of friends. So over the last 10 years, we've worked with each other. We've developed products together. So some of the products that you would have seen in the last 10 years have been the collaboration between himself and myself, plus other people in my teams. So Gen Z Energy was one of the things that I was involved in. So that part of the Rattling Communications Group. Power Plus Energy, I was one of the co-founders of that. Anyway, let's come back to battery manufacturing. Manufacturers, when they make a cell, they sort and deliver their shipments grouped by open circuit voltage, cell capacity, and internal resistance, amongst other things. However, aging cells degrade when you use them and when you abuse them. And due to mechanical stresses and deformities, those aging processes accelerate. And also there are electrochemical changes, and temperature doesn't help either. If you look at this graph here, you will see this is back in 2017. So this is about the time when I first started in the industry. They tested 24 pouch cells over only 600 cycles, and they found that the remaining capacity of those cells deviated by a huge amount in just a very short time. This is with 48 cells in 2014, going a little bit further back, and this is 2018 with 15 cells. So you're looking at variations in cell performance over time. Now, for those of you who are new to the battery energy storage market, what we do is we join lots of cells together in parallel and then in series. We parallel them because we need higher currents, and we series them because we need higher voltages. Now, when you buy a pack of cells and they're joined together in series, the first time you use them, they'll be perfect. There'll be nothing to worry about. Cycle them over many months and perhaps over many years, you begin to see capacity fade. That's usually due to elevated temperatures, uneven cooling and heating. And I read of a case of a Nissan Prius, an electric car where the owner used to park his car on a particular side of the road where the sun shone on it. They did the analysis on the cells afterwards, and they found that one side of the car, the cells aged more rapidly than the other side. That's fascinating, right? I learned that from my friends in the UK, right? Now, as you age the cells, what you'll find is that the capacity of the cell begins to degrade. And you know that because the voltage is linked to the state of charge. So the voltage of a cell begins to drop relative to the cells surrounding that cell. Now, it's fine until you get to the very end of your discharge cycles. So what happens is if you've got all those cells, I won't read them out, and those are the terminal voltages, or the lowest operating voltage of those cells. When you hit those voltages, you cannot discharge that cell anymore, you damage it. But as a result of that, you have all these other cells around them connected in series that cannot be discharged any further. So you're losing capacity. Now, battery management systems, they do some work in helping that process by balancing at the top end when they're fully charged. You've got a technique called passive balancing where you put a resistor, crudely, across a cell to reduce its voltage, to reduce its state of charge relative to the others. Or in active balancing, you move the excess charge from the cell that's too high in voltage to the others. You actively move it. You use capacitors, inductors, and transistors to do that. The objective of all of that is that at the end of charge, all of the cells are at the same state. But the problem is, it's not the end of charge that you worry about, it's the end of discharge that you need to worry about. So there has to be a better way. Now, the Brill Power team that I represent here, now what's Brill Power got to do with all this? I've got to give you a little bit of history. How much time? I've got 1 minute. Okay. So we've got this technique called active loading. Active loading uses the cell's capacity and the state of health to regulate its discharge. So in other words, you no longer put the cells in series, but you put the control systems in series. And as a result, you basically use that converter to be able to deliver the right amount of power to use up all of the cells at the same time, at the same rate at which they're reducing their state of charge. Over the last few months, I've been helping Brill get the 800-volt BESS architecture off the ground. So this is the 800-volt technology that they've got. I've actually shrunk those cabinets now from that size down to 2 19-inch rack mounts. But this technology allows you to be able to extend the life of your system by 3 years, just by active loading. Just a quick, I know I'm not supposed to sell anything, so this is, you read it for yourself. This is what Brill is all about. And this is where their strengths are. They've created a chemistry agnostic piece of hardware, a hardware agnostic operating system to run in the hardware, as well as a software defined battery. Thank you very much, everyone. If you've got any questions, that's my QR code for you to contact me. I know we're running out of time. Thank you very much.